Good morning. It is day 2 of Rise of the Abyssal League, and I thought I'd just put together a quick builder diary to let you know where I am with my Armour Break Mercenary, my experience leveling through the campaign, early maps, and what my plans are for the build. So I'm level 72. Let's log in. Hope you like my drip. I bought the supporter pack because I'm a shill. So I'm currently at 18 hours played. I got to maps in just shy of 13 hours. Acts 1 to 3 were a bit slower than I was expecting because I was getting used to sprinting and the Abyss stuff really slowed me down sometimes. It was quite challenging, but also really rewarding. It drops a ton of currency, it drops a ton of gear. I didn't really have any issues with gearing throughout the campaign. With sprinting, I really like it. I think one of the challenges is though, I play on controller. And it turns out I have the muscle memory that I hold down dodge while I'm dodging because that feels natural, because while the movement is happening, I'm holding the button. Unfortunately, that meant I exited dodges into sprints in bosses quite a lot, which got me killed. But I'm not going to talk too much about the campaign. I think Act 4 was really fun. It took quite a long time to get through it, but it's all new content, right? So actually I really enjoyed the experience. Interludes, I felt they're okay. A lot of reused assets and content, which I guess we were expecting, and then a couple of new bosses. I felt like the bosses at the end of each of the interludes, or some of them at least, were quite a difficulty spike, at least for my build, but my build is not very optimized. But I'll talk about how I leveled now. So I've been playing a physical Armour Break Mercenary / Witch Hunter. So I tried permafrost bolts at the start of the campaign. I didn't really like them. They weren't really freezing. They were doing a bit too much damage. I wasn't really getting any clear. So I ended up going armor piercing rounds, high velocity rounds, explosive grenade, flash grenade, and frag rounds, which I've now taken out. And depending on where I was in the campaign, it felt pretty good all round. Grenades obviously really strong. Support-wise for explosive grenade, I prioritized short fuse as a level 2 gem, so I had to wait a bit for that. But otherwise, as long as I kept my crossbow updated, everything felt pretty good. If I got a crossbow that was really good, I could just clear with armor-piercing rounds and armor explosion, which felt really good when my weapon damage was high, and if it wasn't, then it was just a mixture of frag rounds, flash grenade. Really carried quite a lot. A flash grenade with armor break, armor explosion, armor demolisher is really good. I died a fair bit either through my own mistakes or through the fact that the bosses were just quite difficult and one-shotting me. I think 13 hours to get to maps with the new content was fine. And then by the time I got to maps, I had all of the gear I was wearing I had made. I hadn't bought any gear when I got to maps. I had made this crossbow, which only has 1 rune in it. I need to put a 2nd rune in it, but it's not a huge increase. This is a 300 fizz DPS crossbow with +3 proj and some fizz damage as mana. So I made this during the campaign. I will put another rune in this today. I go for high fizz because the Riven debuff on high velocity rounds only takes into account physical damage, and I have brutality on it. So when I was chunking down bosses with high velocity rounds and frag rounds, having a high fizz weapon was really important. Also helps with armor break on flash grenade because it breaks armor equal to 20% of the physical damage dealt. When I got to maps, I bought 2 pieces of gear because my resistances were awful, and I'm still made of paper. I have only 1300 HP. 33% armor, 13% invasion, even with Wind Dancer up. So I bought a pair of gloves. I bought these gloves for a couple of chaos, and I bought these boots for 8 chaos. 30% move speed, some resistances, some chill duration, stun threshold, and a bit of mana to help with mana issues, because grenades are quite expensive. And then in the early maps, I've been heavily relying on flash grenade. Flash grenade does a lot of work with armor explosion. It was the first thing I used my greater Jeweler's Orb on, and I just want to be casting it all the time. Then I went and bought a couple of lineage gems, Uruk Smelting, which is just an extra debuff every time you break armor. I also bought Argent's Medal, but I haven't figured out where I'm going to put that yet. I'm still trying to figure out the build. It's very unoptimized. And then all the other gear I'm wearing, which is not very good, you know, it doesn't even have runes in it. I found this armor. This helm is not very good. These rings I found that currency throughout the campaign was pretty plentiful. I always had enough exalts and stuff to slam when I wanted to. The thing I was really limited on was support gems for trying stuff out. I really felt myself lacking on getting enough support gems. Also turns out you don't need to save these Nord Abyss currencies because they have an item level cap of eye level 64. I discovered that when I tried to use it on a level 65 piece of armor when I got to endgame. You don't need to save them, just use them. All the Nord stuff, preserved stuff, is then what you can start using once you're in maps. Passive tree wise, this is again very unoptimized. I've not used any of my weapon skill passives. My first two ascendancies, first one I went Zealous Inquisition, and then I went Culling Strike. I did run a Trial of the Sycamores when I got to early maps, but Scorpion Boss got me because I was still relying on grenades and I have no defenses, so I got caught by a slam and it just deleted my honor. I think I can save some skill points here, you know, by using my weapon swap for reload and grenades, but the build relies on fully broken armor. Now I'm going to be leaning into fire damage, so everything does a little bit of fire damage, even flash grenade because of its armor explosion, which is fire damage. But I can save, I think, about 9 points and put them into something like these fire nodes here. I started with all the projectile damage nodes down here, grabbed all of these two-handed nodes, grabbed all the grenade nodes, reload speed, detonation time, came down here, got the projectiles pierce enemies with fully broken armor. I had the idea that I could just machine gun armor piercing rounds and it would just like pop, 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 pop with the armor explosions. Didn't quite work out like that. Flash grenade does a much better job because it triggers all the armor explosions at once, so it actually deletes the pack. More AoE, which is really for the grenades, and some armor break duration. Then I came over to Molten One's Gift so I could get more damage because a lot of stuff is converting to fire. Increased effect of fully broken armor and also fire damage taken from hits. Got some move speed and immune to hinder and maim here. I don't know if I'll keep these nodes now. Probably don't need them. Can use them on increasing the power of the build. Maybe more defensive nodes. But yeah, that's my tree at the moment. I found in early maps that my offense was starting to lack. So my weapon isn't terrible. 310 DPS, physical DPS, stick another rune in it. But I just found that aside from, you know, what flash grenade could do and explosive grenades, I just found that it wasn't clearing that quickly. I'm also made of paper. I have no mitigation really. I have very low life totals, so I get one shot quite a lot. Build plans. I am going to try and make Incendiary Shot work. At the moment I have Wildfire, Exploit Weakness and Ignite. Oh yeah, also through the campaign I was using Scavenged Plating instead of Shard Scavenger because I wasn't consuming anything for a bit of extra defense, which I think helped. I also picked up Infernal Cry with Raging Cry because Armor Break 3 gives you an endurance charge, fully break armor, which you're doing all the time, so I can just spam Infernal Cry for more grenade damage. I am leaning into fire more, so I want to try and make Ignite work, and I've switched to Shard Scavenger because I've got Incendiary Shot with Exploit Weakness, so this is hopefully going to be how I clear, and then I need to figure out my single target. I want to continue to use Flash Grenade. It's a really good armor break, it stuns, it has quick cooldown recovery, it blinds. It's just a really good opener and way to break armor. I need to figure out how I'm going to deal a bunch of damage. So armor piercing rounds is really good for breaking armor as well. It breaks armor really quickly, but I don't think I need it in endgame. I might switch this for rapid shot for single target, which can pump out a lot of hits. So I would break armor with flash grenades, hit them with a HVR, rapid shot them, finish with an incendiary shot to spend the heat, and hopefully that'll deal a decent amount of damage. But I'll figure it out. The second priority is sort out my defensive layers. I need to lean more into evasion and deflection, I think, is going to be the play, and get a little bit more life on my gear. I've got no life here, no life on my belt. Yeah, minimum life rolls. I've got some life here with some spirit, which I'm spending on herbalism and vitality. I just need to update my gear a bit, improve my defenses, and then figure out the build. So I will put out another video at the end of day 2, so tomorrow morning, after I've spent a bit more time in endgame. Hopefully I'll be heading into T15 maps with a working endgame build, so look out for that, and come hang out on my stream if you want. Twitch TV, read more book, or you can catch me here on YouTube. Good luck!